Let's pray, and then we will say the Pledge of Allegiance. Heavenly Father, we just come before you, just coming off of an incredible weekend of celebrating our country and the 250 years. And God, we reflect back on how you brought individuals together to form this country, and we thank you for that. We think about our own county and these commissioners. I pray you will bless them tonight as they serve you. And we think about those that are out there on the street, first responders, those that are protecting us. We thank you for what they do, and continue to protect them. And bless this time as we move through these hours. And we do this in your name. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay, I'll call the July 6th, 2026 meeting of the Burleigh County Park Board to order. First item is roll call of members.
Commissioner Herman.
Here.
Commissioner Woodcox.
Here.
Commissioner Munson.
Here.
Commissioner Bakken.
Here.
Commissioner Schwab.
Here.
Commissioner Boehm.
Here.
Chairman Bittner.
Here. Next is the approval of the agenda. Commissioners?
Move to approve.
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the agenda. Any further discussion? Call the roll.
Commissioner Woodcox.
Yes.
Commissioner Munson.
Yes.
Commissioner Bakken.
Yes.
Commissioner Schwab.
Yes.
Commissioner Boehm.
Yes.
Commissioner Herman.
Yes.
Chairman Bittner.
Yes, motion carries. Next, consideration of the June 15th, 2026 meeting minutes. Commissioners?
Move to approve. Second.
Motion and a second to approve the minutes. Any further discussion? Call the roll.
Commissioner Munson.
Yes.
Commissioner Bakken.
Yes.
Commissioner Schwab.
Yes.
Commissioner Boehm.
Yes.
Commissioner Herman.
Yes.
Commissioner Woodcox.
Yes.
Chairman Bittner.
Yes, motion carries. Next is public comment. Does anybody wish to speak to the Burleigh County Park Board? This is a public comment period. Anybody wish to speak? Third call. Does anybody wish to speak during public comment period? I'll close the public comment period. Move on to Commissioner Schwab. Page 5, you've got county park maintenance and weed control.
Do you want me to start this?
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's your item.
I got 6 calls and one face-to-face meeting about the condition of the vault toilets, the dumpsters, specifically down at the Desert, Kimball Bottoms, and what the hell is that other one? Grant Marsh. I didn't get down to McLean. However, I did get up to Steckel, and that looked pretty good. You can see the garbage in these photos that isn't being picked up. And now I want to talk about a dumpster. That dumpster is actually bridged on the bottom because they forced so much trash in it. It hasn't been picked up. When they went out there, I was under the impression they were going to take a bigger dumpster out there. They didn't. And when they dumped this one, about a third of what was in there was bridged at the bottom and didn't come out. So, what did come out, it was laying in the front on a messy dump. It's full of maggots, etc. And if you go to the photo, you'll see the garbage bags, 2 garbage bags, and it looks like it's full already.
What page, John? What page?
I'll get it.
10.
10. So then you move on, I believe this page 7 at the next one up the line. It doesn't make any difference because they're all kind of rough. You can see that the vault toilet is up to the rim. That's completely unacceptable. The dumpster I imagine hasn't been dumped for an extended period. That's full. So, getting back to the worst one, though, was Kimball Bottoms. I went down with my equipment and met with Carson, who is kind of keeping an eye out on things. And we loaded up all the trash around there. And now we've got a roll top down there, which is going to attract more trash. So the thing about it is, we're going to have to decide how we're going to handle this. You need a bigger dumpster, and this, the one that's down there right now, I would classify it as hazardous waste in there. That's how bad it is, rotting in there. So we need to get the next size dumpster up at least, and then have it dumped once a week. And then as far as the vaults and
Mr. Chair?
stuff, well, whatever you want to do there.
Commissioner Munson, do you have something to say?
So the construction dumpster was brought in order to clean up the garbage. The day it was scheduled to be done the day after Commissioner Schwab was there. So that construction dumpster has been picked up. And larger dumpsters, 2 sizes larger, were both delivered to Kimball and Knifel, with scheduled for weekly. The vaults, people are putting garbage in the vaults. Last week, Monday, we literally cleaned the vault at Knifel. And by Thursday, someone had put garbage back into that vault. They literally walked right by a dumpster outside, 50 feet away, to put garbage in the vault toilet. As you go down to Commissioner Schwab's picture on page 10, that was a photo that was sent to us also by a local resident. The person's name is still on the box inside the garbage, the dumpster. We asked the sheriff's department to pay that resident a visit. They literally are the next home closest to Kimball Bottoms. They were using our dumpster as their personal trash receptacle. The sheriff's department will have to report what how the conversation went and what the possible fines are for that. But it is illegal for you to be dumping personal waste in our dumpster. It's also illegal for you to leave televisions and household items on the ground around our dumpsters. These dumpsters are for the use of the residents that are taking part in the picnic area or the fishing ramps, not for the neighbors of the adjoining properties. So we've got that dealt with as well. We do have a big problem with garbage in 2 of the vaults. The turd burglar is putting together a program to try to figure out a way to remove the garbage that has made it down through the bars. We've tried to hire 3 other companies to do that, and they've all turned us down. The turd burglar is willing to give it a shot, and they're coming up with a program to both Kimball and Knifel have an 8-inch access panel on the back. And so they're working on putting together a way of getting that out. They were able to suck them down, the liquids, as far as they could. But it's pretty tough to continue to keep these things decent when people will literally just put a bag of trash in the vault toilet itself.
What would you think about just putting a smaller trash can in the vault toilet? I think it would make sense if it was a self-closing kind of can, and maybe people would get the message. I don't know if we need to consider some sort of signage or something. But I think people need to understand, if this kind of stuff keeps happening, we may have to consider just closing them, locking them up.
Exactly. We've talked about that internally as well. Visiting with a couple other individuals. In fact, Chair Bittner and Planning and Zoning Commissioner Small and I were in a conversation, and if we try to lock them, will the residents simply break the lock or damage them even more? Possibly. But we've got a big problem at both of our boat ramps that people are abusing it completely, and it's unfair for the rest of the residents that are actually taking time to do it the right way.
Okay, we also have I think we still have a dump trailer that we bought cooperatively with the highway department. Does that still exist? So we're half and half owners on a dump trailer.
Yep.
And I'm wondering, back when that was my portfolio, we just basically had trash cans with trash bags in them. And then the guy that was doing the park maintenance was pulling a trailer, and then he would just empty the trash cans and replace the bags. So it basically took away the incentive for the public to use the dumpster as their personal dumpster. Might not be the most ideal outcome, but I think we're kind of inviting people, what do they call that, an attractive nuisance? To basically dump their private trash in the public dumpster.
Well,
Yeah, in the one photo, there's even a mattress laying there.
I see that.
And a table, and that's just not acceptable.
that's,
No.
It's unacceptable.
well, the thing about that is, if the dumpster hasn't been dumped and it's overloaded, you're gonna have overflow. And then they're gonna take their garbage into the vault and dump it there. I think would be a good idea to get cans in down there.
I think, building code nowadays on new buildings and whatnot, in the women's restroom in particular, you have to have a self-closing covered trash can. And it seems to make sense to me, because that's a unisex type of place there. And I think that would actually make sense. We could try it. Who knows if they'll disappear? I don't know if we got to chain them to a wall or what we got to do.
Probably.
You got to chain them down.
Yeah, I know it's a big hassle, but what we're doing now isn't working.
I think part of it is too, Chair, is we've had some learning curves with this. The initial order for all of the dumpsters were all 2-yard dumpsters to be dumped every other week. We learned very quickly that they needed to be dumped every week. And so that change was put in place. And then as we looked at both Kimball and Knifel, instead of a 2-yard, we've ordered 6 yards for those. So again, some of this is learning curve. We don't have the use of Parks and Rec, who has been doing all of this for us in the last how many years. But I think we're a lot better today than we were even 2 weeks ago.
Right. Commissioner Woodcox?
I happened to look at, went to Misty Waters today, and it's fine now. I don't know what it was 4 or 5 days ago, but it's good now. And same with Steckhall, and I went to the Rifle Range, their dumpster was good. Kimball Bottoms were all good. I didn't see any problems now, but this was Friday, Saturday, and today that I went out looking. But it's the busiest weekend of the year, and some people have to be idiots and do things that they shouldn't be doing, just like we got with the OHVs or whatever they are. Some people are idiots, and you just can't, unless you catch them in the act, it's pretty hard to do anything. But they're good now.
I guess it's something we're just going to have to monitor closely and stay on top of it, right, Commissioners?
Yep. I get weekly updates from Carson as to the status of everything. If there's an issue that comes up, I get a call daily if needed. So we do have an employee that is at each one of these locations 5 days a week, and we will keep monitoring and adjusting as we need.
Yeah, is he driving a pickup?
Yes,
Okay.
the one that we bought from County Highway.
Sure.
White one.
Right. And then obviously he must have the keys for the toilet paper rolls and that whole thing, right?
Correct. Yep.
Okay.
There's one other thing concerning
Commissioner Schwab.
Carson. When is he going back to NDSU to play football?
He starts in Moorhead at the 1st of August.
So at the end of this month, we don't have anybody to go around.
Yep. And we do have some applicants for the hybrid position that would work for both County Highway Department and the Park Board.
Starting when, Commissioner?
We're hoping to interview in the next week or so that they'd be ready to start work first part of August.
Okay, so that'd be more of a full-time position then, split between the
Correct.
park and the highway? Okay. Okay, anything else on that subject? This was a good update. I think it would be helpful for the public to understand that that is not a dumpster for getting rid of private household trash. That is for the use of the campgrounds and the fishermen and that sort of things in the parks. And you could certainly expect a visit from Burleigh County Sheriff's Department if you want to continue misusing the facilities. Commissioners, anything else for the parks? Yeah, I'll let weed control at Missouri Valley Complex.
Okay, the weed control, I drove through there a couple of weeks ago, and it seems like the committee isn't getting their job done because there's weeds out there I couldn't believe, splurge, et cetera, et cetera. So, the problem with what we've got out there is this should have been, they should have got ready for this thing as a regular maintenance item instead of waiting till the last minute. So I have Darren over here, and we went over kind of a plan on how we're going to attack it. And then I want to ask him how many beetles he caught.
Aye.
Welcome, Darren.
Commissioners? Yes, we were out there maybe 2 weeks ago. We started, we did an application on the field area, what was known as the Clark or Coleman corn maze and whatnot. It would have been a lot more beneficial if we'd have known earlier for the application, but what we did is we went in on the field area. There was areas that Coleman didn't even spray because of the thickness of the wormwood and stuff. That was close to the community garden. He stayed away from that. We waited for the perfect wind, just a light breeze out of the southwest west there. But we did put down 20 ounce an acre of high noon and 1 quart an acre of Freelix on that particular parcel there, the main farm land. Then in the trees for the spurge, we did the high noon and tore down with in both applications had Liberate on them. So we took care of the spurge in the trees. We actually sprayed the ditches along Highway 10 there because why spray one side? It don't pay. So we did the road ditches all the way up to Midwest Drive and then along Midwest Drive. So we had a couple of misses. I was up there actually today. I went through there. We had a couple of skips. But we're going to be back in there on Thursday, weather permitting, to take and touch those up. But for the main part, I mean, the application was awesome. I mean, we're down to that. I mean, any broadleaf, the alfalfa, because he put in a hay mixture is what Clark had mentioned. And so the alfalfa was burnt off. You could see where the grass was starting to come in and stuff, but ideally, it'd have been great to know about this, and then maybe he'd have been interested in renting it one more year and just keep rolling until, the projects or whatever's going to be going on with that property would have been addressed then. But
but other than that, I mean, we'll get back out there on Thursdays, what Chris Meller and I were talking about this morning, and we got to get out there and do that.
Okay.
And I did put signs up out there that show that as the time and date with a wet marker, we put down the time and date the application is so that people know not to let their dogs out, you know, within drying time at least. So just a little deal there.
Okay, Commissioner Schwab?
Okay, you've got the big field under control, so now what about the dirt piles?
The dirt piles,
How are you gonna handle them?
what we did there, because kind of a time base, but what we did is where the dirt piles, we came down there, we took it, that trail that goes to the motocross on the southwest corner, we took that in and we just added chemical on each side of the road there, did as much of that hillside as we could. What we're going to do is, because that dirt pile has so much kochia, I did some checking and got some information on a different chemical. It's called E2, and they're having some really good success with it, according to the nutrient representative on kochia, and that's at 3 pints an acre. So what we're going to do when we get some time, because we're a little bit behind. We're about, I would say, 2, possibly 3 townships shy of where we were last year because of the wind that we've been having this year. We're gaining ground. We were a little further behind than that. So we're doing well there. But I want to take that E2 chemical down there and applicate that on there because it don't have a residual factor to it or anything. So I think that's a good test site so I know what we got for those piles, especially our highway department piles, or Burleigh County piles, because we have the new inspector or the new supervisor, Joe. I've talked with him, and it's like, I want to know what you're doing with these piles, because it's important that we don't get a residual into them if you're going to be using them on surface, applications and stuff like that. Where if this chemical, the E2 here, herbicide, works, that's what we can applicate on all of them, then we don't have to worry about that.
That's good thinking.
So, and then, I mean, down at the Missouri Valley, we've been down, we sprayed on, I think it was Friday, Chris went down and sprayed the arena, because there was a little bit of, a few weeds in the center of the arena itself, but the pens are all cleaned up. So it's looking good down there. I mean, for the time allowed and wind and whatnot, we're doing well there.
Good. Thank you. Appreciate that. Anything else? All right. We'll move on.
All right, thank you, gentlemen.
Thanks, sir. It's good to have those weeds under control. Anything else under other business, commissioners? Anything for the good of Burleigh County Park Board? Okay, I will adjourn the Burleigh County Park Board. Thank you, gentlemen. I'll call the July 6th, 2026 meeting of the Burleigh County Commission order. What time you got there? Oh, we're not going to make 5:35, Commissioner Woodcock. We'll note the time of the adjournment of the Park Board and the call to order of the County Commission. First item is roll call of members.
Commissioner Bakken. Here. Commissioner Schwab.
Here.
Commissioner Woodcox.
Here.
Commissioner Munson.
Here.
Chairman Bittner.
Here. Next item is approval of the agenda. I was looking at this, and on the second page, here where we have commission added items, there's a planning and zoning discussion, and Mitch was going to talk to Commissioner Munson. Wonder, did you have a chance to do that? I'm not aware of a reason to have a planning and zoning discussion, because when last I talked to Mitch, this kind of centered around a discussion for the planning commission, not the county commission. Go ahead.
Yeah, I did talk to Commissioner Munson today, and so he would ask to pull the item. It was a mistake because it's going to the county planning commission meeting instead of this commission.
Yeah. Okay, that's kind of what we worked out. We were a little confused about the thing, but we got her. Thanks, Mitch. Okay, so commissioners, unless you have any other changes or additions, I would recommend approval of the agenda minus item 10.
Move to approve with the amendment?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? Call the roll.
Commissioner Schwab.
Yes.
Commissioner Woodcox.
Yes.
Commissioner Munson.
Yes.
Commissioner Bakken.
Yes.
Chairman Bittner.
Yes, motion carries. Next, consideration of the June 15th, 2026 meeting minutes and bills.
I have done the meeting minutes and the bills, and I found nothing wrong with them. So I moved that we approve them both.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve the meeting minutes and the bills. I would have changed one letter, I think, in the meeting minutes.
Did you see something I didn't see?
One letter.
One letter, yeah. Yeah, I forget where I was right now. So it was so insignificant that it was just, one letter. Anyway, motion second. Any further discussion? Call the roll.
Commissioner Woodcox.
Yes.
Commissioner Munson.
Yes.
Commissioner Bakken.
Yes.
Commissioner Schwab.
Yo.
Chairman Bittner.
Yes, motion carried. Next, public comment. Anybody wish to speak under the public comment section? If you do, come forward, give your name and address or name for the record. Anybody wish to speak under the public comment period? Third and final call. Anybody wish to speak under the public comment period? Seeing none, I'll close the public comment period and move on to the consent agenda. Commissioners?
Move to approve.
Second.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Woodcox?
can you look at the primary resident credit abatement, just an explanation?
We sure can. Who has the explanation for that?
Taylor should.
Okay?
Good evening, Chair Bittner and Commissioner. So this was one, after we had approved the primary residence credits in the county, a taxpayer reached out to the state because he didn't get his primary residence credit. He did apply. That was successful. I think there was an issue with the transfer. He did all that through the state. They approved to send us the money, so they did send us that money basically supplementary to the first batch. So we just got that money. And so all we have to do is approve the abatement, and then I can get him a refund of what he paid, because we did get that money from the state now.
Okay. Sounds good.
Thank you.
Not every plan goes as planned, huh? Okay, there was a motion. Was there a second?
Yes.
Okay. Any further discussion? Call the roll.
Commissioner Munson.
Yes.
Commissioner Bakken.
Yes.
Commissioner Schwab.
Yes.
Commissioner Woodcox.
Yes.
Chairman Bittner.
Yes, motion carries. Next, Planning and Zoning Director Mitch Flanagan. We got Ponderosa Village and Norb's final subdivision. Welcome, Mitch.
Good evening, Commissioners, Mr. Chair. First up is the Ponderosa Riverside Village 9th subdivision. I inadvertently had submitted Ponderosa Village 8th subdivision in your packets.
Well, that's why the correction is on the table in front of us. We'll forgive you, okay? It's a hot day today.
Yeah. So this was sent to the commission. It was owners Jeffrey and Kimberly Esslinger intended to combine the existing 4-lot subdivision, their Riverside Village replat, into a 10-acre 1-lot subdivision. The current zoning will remain R1. The plat went through 5 revisions to receive staff approval. Vacation of the buckboard lane that was in the center of the subdivision was approved on May 4th. Stormwater management waiver was not required. Paving waiver was not required. At the public hearing, it was recommended to vote approve the final plat by 7-0.
Okay. Commissioners, what are your wishes?
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion is second to approve.
Second.
Motion is second, and a delayed echoes.
Sorry about that.
No, that's no problem. I know how that thing works. There is a delay. Motion is second. Any further discussion? Call the roll.
Commissioner Bakken.
Yes.
Commissioner Schwab.
Yes.
Commissioner Woodcox.
Yes.
Commissioner Munson.
Yes.
Chairman Bittner.
Yes, motion carries. Next is Norb's final subdivision.
Yes, Chair, this is, Burleigh County was approached earlier this year in subdividing the Lot 11 of Barbie's neighborhood subdivision. The owner is requesting to divide the 9-acre parcel into 3-lot subdivision. Lot 1 is 2.5, Lot 2 is 2.7 acres, Lot 3 is 3.8. The existing zoning will remain R1. Stormwater management plan waiver was approved on June 6th. Paving waiver was not required. At the June public hearing, it was recommended approved by 7-0.
Okay.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion and second to approve. Any further discussion? Call the roll.
Commissioner Schwab.
Yes.
Commissioner Woodcox.
Yes.
Commissioner Munson.
Yes.
Commissioner Bakken.
Yes.
Chairman Bittner.
Yes, motion carries.
Thank you,
Thank you, Mitch. Next is County Human Resources Director Binder, 2026 HR Mid-Year Report. Welcome.
Chairman Bittner, Commissioners, hopefully this thing's going. I put together a mid-year report to give you kind of a summary of what's been going on in the Human Resources Department for the first 6 months of 2026. I did use statistics from the past years as well. Not sure if you guys had a chance to read it. I can go over a couple of highlights on it. Our recruitment and selection for posting jobs, we have posted 42 positions. 42 jobs. Some of those are multiple positions like detention officer and highway maintenance worker. And just in comparison, in 2025, we had 50 all year. 2024, we had 40 all year. And 2023, we had 65 all year. So we are basically posting a lot of jobs this first 6 months of the year. Also with our applicant flow is the amount of applications that we get in a year. And over the last 6 months, we've received 307 applications. We have to touch every single one of those 307 applications, whether they're qualified or not. We still have to communicate and process them as if they were qualified. So we still have to do stuff with them. So the 307 compared to the 472 for all of 2025 and 675 applications for 2024 and 520 applications for 2023. We've been busy with applications. One other just summary is the Human Resource Action Forms. You may recognize the Personal Action Form or the PATH forms that we have you sign as supervisors. Those are called actually HR actions, and they are meant for every time we do something with an employee. So whether we have a new hire or rehire, promotion, demotion, transfer, we do pay step increases. They just do the cost of living only if they're still on probation. Temporary stipend and the temporary stipend and a probation. This is done with the Human Service Zone because they don't always get a pay step increase with their probation. Probationary increase, the market adjustments, reclassifications. We have different types of terminations. We have the voluntary resignation. That is when somebody voluntarily quits. We have a discharge. That is when we provide them the opportunity to get a different position. Retirement when they retire, and forced resignation is basically resignation in lieu of termination. And then we have had a couple of deaths, but not for a while. So all of these actions, we've been keeping track of them from 2020 to 2026. And as of today, we actually have 522 actions. So we're bumping right up against the 2025 and 2024 numbers at 6 months, a little over 6 months. So we have been busy. Some of the bigger departments are the ones that take up a lot of our time. The detention center is at 32% with the HR actions. Highway is at 16, and State's Attorney and Sheriff's Department are at 15 each. So our average number of days to fill a position from the time we post to the time they come on, the hire date, is average 26 days, unless we have our state's attorneys. Those are averaging 149 days, because that is a hard position to fill. We are bumping up against personal businesses. You know, we have attorneys, private attorneys, that are after the same people we are after, and there's a finite amount of graduates from the universities with their Juris Doctorate. So it's stiff competition for attorneys, as state's attorney lawyer can attest. So we continue to work on that. part of our problem too is in the labor market, and I brought some statistics here. On May 2026, the North Dakota's unemployment rate was at 1.9%. And Burleigh County from May 2026 was even lower, it's at 1.7%. So the people looking for jobs in the state that are unemployed is only 8,225 jobs. We have over 20,000 open jobs in the state of North Dakota right now. And in May of 2026, just in Burleigh County, we only have 933 people looking, and we have over 5,000, 7,000 jobs. So we definitely have twice as many jobs as people looking for them. It makes it very hard to recruit. We have had to do a lot more advertising, and our advertising budget shows that, because we've used up 50% of our advertising budget just this year at almost $4,000, when in past years we've been right around that $5,000 mark. And I guess in 2022, that was our massive turnover year. They said the Great Resignation is what they called it, so we weren't alone there. But that was 6,400. We're going to top that this year if it keeps up. So that is basically our recruiting activity. Employee relations, we deal with the different departments on employee relations. So we deal with complaints. We deal with any investigations, either investigations that I do as the HR director or that I'm consulting on for the other departments when they're doing their investigations. And then the disciplinary actions that follow. So these numbers may be a little misleading, but the amount of numbers, there's a lot of time that goes into these investigations, because these are long reports that I have to write, investigations, questionnaires, questioning people. So this isn't just 21 is no big deal. 21 in 6 months is a lot. Job reclassifications, I think I've come to you with the different reclassifications this year. We have a plan. We have 122 job descriptions in Burleigh County. And we have a plan to try and get through all those job descriptions once every 5 years. We have had job descriptions that haven't been updated in over 15 years. And so the language is even outdated on some of them. They're using old language. So the plan was originally to, as the positions come up, to reclassify. But we came into the situation to where we have other positions in different departments that are similar, so we have to reclassify the whole batch. So administrative assistance was one, for example. So we've kind of been hit or miss, and then we've been following up by department. So we're halfway through. We've gone through 78 positions, so we have 46 left. So we are moving on that. We did bring that process in-house in 2023. We were being charged $500 per job description by Gallagher, a company out of Minneapolis. It was taking them 6 to 8 months to do it, and we basically got back what we gave them, word for word. So it was non-value added. So we came up with I came up with a version of the decision band ranking method that works. And we've proven it to work because we check it up against our ONET, which is the government reporting website for jobs. So it's just working through that system to get those jobs done. I'm working on policies, so recruitment and selection, employment policy, employee compensation, and tuition reimbursement policies are the ones that I'm working through right now. In benefits, we've talked about the claims earlier, and we're still tracking pretty good for claims. I still recommend the 4% increase in 2027 rather than the 8% that we've done in the last 3 years. Because of that formulary that changed, we had to go to the net results formulary because of the laws that changed with covering diabetic supplies and some of the other prescription drugs. GLP-1s was a main thing for weight loss, and we chose not to cover the GLP-1s because if we would continue to cover the GLP-1s, we would have been sanctioned, and our plan would have had 50 to 75% of the cost for those drugs, and those drugs aren't cheap. 1 month of those drugs is about $5,000 to $6,000, and we did have, I think, 30 people that were on those just for weight loss. Now, if they're on them for diabetes or what they were meant for, that is still covered. they have to do a pre-authorization, but it can be done. So that is the reason why we chose to not cover our GLP-1s, because that would take a hit to our claims that we can't afford at this point. Our prescription drug claims are the highest part of our plan, so we have to be mindful of how much we're paying out for claims. Also, Blue Cross and Blue Shield has gone into acquisition or merger with Cambria Health, so that changes that net formulary results, and that will become standard for January of next year. So we just jumped the gun a year. With this, our platform is going to change. Technology reporting platform is going to change with Cambria and Blue Cross and Blue Shield. The Blue Cross and Blue Shield North Dakota name and branding will stay the same. The customer service will stay the same, except for we will get expanded customer service hours because Cambria has locations in surrounding states, and so different time zones. So that'll help us. Other than that, we're still trying to get information on what else is going to change, but they have promised us that there's very little that is going to change with this acquisition. The compensation, I put together the compensation so far, the payroll. We have this data insights now with the Paylocity system, so we're starting to use it. So year to date, with half the payrolls in for the 2026, we are at $20.9 million for our employee costs. And this does include the human service zone. This is all of our employees. And our budget for 2026, what I had on our spreadsheets was $45,210,000. So we're tracking a little under 50% of budget with half the payrolls in for the year. That breaks down that $20.9 million by month in the chart, the bar chart, with the hours on the yellow line. So that tells us kind of what we're doing with payroll, where payroll's going. The payroll costs are broken out. So our regular compensation was $11,132,083, and overtime wages were $618,839. Overtime's mainly driven by the detention, Burleigh Morton detention. Highway gets some, and also Sheriff's Department. And the rest, the 1.9, that is like our ND PERS contributions, retirement contributions, the employer contribution part, and the life insurance. So those are those type of benefits that go in there to break up the whole compensation costs. And I do have a donut chart that kind of breaks everything up into percentages, so it gives you a great overview of where everything's going. The line chart on the workforce metrics is our turnover. That was 3.6%. And that's actually been lower than what it has been in the other years. Past years, it's been right around 8 to 9%. And I do believe in 2022, we hit 15, 16%. So that's tracking well. Our hire to terms over time, the hiring versus the terms in a month, we're staying pretty steady there, except for May. We kind of had a lot more hires than we did terms, which is good. And then our total head count from January went from 364 to 380. So we are bringing on people. The only thing that we have for risk is that tight labor market. And we are not able to compete on compensation with the private businesses. And our pension plan was capped. So now we're trying to compete on basically what we can do for retirement, what we can do for our health insurance, and try and keep up with the compensation as much as we can in the government sector. We're never going to keep up with the private sector. So those are our risks and issues that we're looking into. We're going to continue our recruiting efforts, and we're going to research different programs that can help the county with our tenured employees, try and retain our employees. And also the Human Resources Department is getting ready to move into our offices at the Provident Building. So we're hoping this Thursday, we're trying to line up for this Thursday that our desks will be moved so that we can move up there and actually have space again. So that is my report. Does anybody have any questions?
Commissioners, any questions for Pam? I'm not seeing any.
Looking forward to Windows?
Yes.
It's been a long time.
Worth the wait.
Yeah,
Yes,
it's been a
and-
long time coming.
And to not have that echoing of that gate when people, because on the first floor, when you're going, that gate swings and it's just like it's like a dungeon. It's like a jail. So to not have that anymore, that will be great. Thank you.
Thanks, Pam.
Good job.
Okay, State's Attorney Lawyer salary variance request. Welcome.
Good evening, Commissioners. As you can see in your packet, we did have an applicant for our legal assistant position that comes to us with 32 years of experience. It's primarily been in the criminal law arena, and so our minimum qualifications for that job are 2 years of experience or a 2-year degree. She comes in with well over that, so we're asking for a salary variance for a starting salary at step 10.
Commissioner Bakken.
So what does that do with other legal assistants? I'm assuming we don't have any legal assistants with that many years of experience.
We don't, and she would not be the highest paid legal assistant we have.
Okay.
She will not be?
She will not be, no.
There's room for growth.
Will we approve?
Second.
Approve.
Motion and a second to approve. Any further discussion? Call the roll.
Commissioner Schwab,
Yes.
Commissioner Woodcox,
Yes.
Commissioner Munson,
Yes.
Commissioner Bakken,
Yes.
Chairman Bittner.
Yes, motion carries.
Thank you.
Julie. Okay, other business. I only had one thing to add. I got another one of these certified letters from the city that they're required to send out by law, that there's an annexation request from a landowner. It's up in the Silver Ranch area and the adjoining Davies Drive right-of-way. So this is just for informational purposes. Anybody have any issues, you can get further information. There is a public hearing on Tuesday, July 14th. I didn't see any issues with it, so. Anything else?
Well, that-
Commissioner Schwab?
I should have brought this up at the park board meeting, but I don't think it's gonna be that big a deal. Are we able, Julie, to post signs with, people dumping trash, put a fine on what they're gonna be paying?
I have to look and see.
You
I have to
know,
look and see if there's a statute that allows for that.
unauthorized dumping, $10,000, something like that.
I don't think it's that high, but I will look and see what the statutory reference is, if there is one.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Bakken?
Chair, that annexation request, that goes through county planning and zoning as well?
No,
No?
no, it's just the legal requirement that they
formality?
notify
Okay.
the chair or the county commission, or the chair of the county commission.
Perfect, thank you.
Yep, you're welcome. Any other business for the good of the county? Thank you, gentlemen, we're adjourned.